So y'all know I do videos on weekends sometimes for people who can't make the weekday videos due to busy schedule. So um, I've been talking about these witches and warlocks lately since the energy has been getting heavy, and um, some of y'all have been wondering what has been happening with the witches and warlocks being all up in your energy. A lot of them then played themselves. Now I'm gonna give y'all some solutions for um, overcoming the witches and warlocks when they're trying to be in your energy and trying to get your success, because that's what they want. They want your fan club, they want your success, and they want your legacy, your life force especially. So I'm gonna give y'all some solutions on how to keep, putting them in their place and not block your blessings at the same time, not feeling like you're um, losing control. You want to maintain control while you block these witches and warlocks. But in this video, I'm going to first talk about how they played themselves. When you have witches and warlocks, they keep on chasing your energy because they're chasing what you're supposed to get. What they don't realize is that the entities and the deviation that they used, it can never ever tell them the precise time in which you're supposed to do something that will get success. So they will always be too early or too late trying to chase your energy. Their intuition will never be in alignment with yours. So they are totally dependent on you to give them the time window in which you're supposed to get success. And even if you do show up and they say, oh, this is the time because you showed up, once you have done it, it's too late. They're basically coming in when the party's over, when the party's ending. So they done missed all the best gifts, the best claps, the best party favors. They done missed it all. So they're basically um, getting whatever's just left over on the table at the party. That's what they're getting. But of course they're going to make a big deal out of it because they're living in such lack mindset that the scraps you leave at the party is like a big deal to them. But those scraps cannot manifest anything more because it's leftovers. It's a leftover flat vibration of your successful frequency. So it really can't um, travel great distances to get bigger manifestations. So basically, they're just getting crumbed. And they do notice compared to when they're in their own energy and doing what they're supposed to do. They do notice that um, they was it was easier to get bigger and do better when they stayed in their own energy. They do notice that, but they're just so afraid of the desert, of having a break time, of being in the winter season. They don't want to have time to give gratitude and accept the little bit that they may get from their own energy to ground them. They don't want to deal with that. So they just try to, force their way through by chasing your path and your energy. Hi everybody. If this Saturday video, is resonating with you, feel free to let me know. I'm no longer allowing my videos to be available on replay when I do them in the morning hours. So basically, if you don't watch the videos in the morning hours when I put them up, then you will have to pay for the replay, unless you're on my email list. Love the Most High, Onita, and a few other people. You will always get the morning replay videos for free. But you're more than welcome to donate to the channel. Once again, if you have come to this video late, then you'll have to pay the $7 fee for the replay. This is for all my morning videos, which I will explain why it's important to do that when you do public work in the morning hours that is connected to your life purpose. I will explain that in the video. So just hang in there, y'all. Let me get my tea, sip my tea. All right. So since these witches and warlocks, they got played, when it's like the Taurus season, if you want to call it the Taurus moon or the earth moon, and when you get into the Scorpio, people are trying to recover, work extra harder to recover for some losses. They wasted their money over the past year and they're trying to get that money back. So these witches and warlocks get desperate. And what they do is they start to abuse their psychic powers, misuse them, and things like that. But they start to get so desperate as the season starts to peak with the harvest coming in that they actually start to jump ahead with trying to do what you do. See, spying works against them. They don't realize it. They think it's working for them because they say, well, at least I did get some claps and a couple coins. They don't realize that they can never be on time with you. It doesn't matter what they do because your time clock is actually embedded in your cosmic and metaphysical energy. It's not in theirs. So no cards, no crystal ball, no psychic reader can even tell them the precise time. They can only guess. And the guessing will be wrong because their intuition is not giving them confirmation. This is how the creator protect your buffet from being overeaten and people being too greedy and taking from it that they without their presence known. Okay? So here's how you can use your divine timing intuition to put them in their place even more. Become more sporadic with your service. Okay? Have multiple schedules that you use. Don't keep using the same schedule. What this is going to do, it's going to cause toxicity in their life because they're going to be so busy chasing your schedule, all these variations of your schedule, that their life is going to fall apart. They're going to want to quit. They're going to want to quit because they're going to have things that they have to deal with in their life that they're going to have to sacrifice just to chase your new variation of your schedule. What'll even happen is they'll grow frustrated and they'll get burnt out trying to deal with their life at the same time while trying to deal with your variations of your schedule. So they may actually play the victim though. Some of them play the victim when that happened, and they might actually try to curse you for the fact that they kind of catching on that you're making them exhausted on purpose, locking up their life by having them chase you in circles all over the place, being so unpredictable. And even if they did try to curse you, it won't work because you're currently in a high vibration manifesting energy, which means you're protected by strong spiritual guards. So it's not going to work anyway. They're just going to send their energy back to them. And you know that you're in that high vibration of manifesting because they're chasing you. That's how you know when the witches and warlocks are thirsty for your energy. That's how you know that you're locked into manifesting powers. Okay, most of them are also watching a deviation to see what power ability that many of us would have a boost in. So that's why they're choosing to chase you at that time. So basically, if they see that you're having a boost in your earth energy, then they're like, oh, you're probably going to be getting money, or you're probably going to be getting knowledge, and your ancestors is probably going to give you some knowledge worth money. So that's when they'll try to follow your tracks. They'll track you and then they'll try to find out what are you giving to the world, what service you're doing, because they know that you got some power boost in earth energy. So, and a lot of them are very educated in what elemental energy, what each elemental energy would give you psychically. So if it's something that they really want and you're currently being favored in that energy, then that's when they'll decide to track you again and chase your energy again. Hi, everybody. Let's see who we have here. Somebody said, "Can you please follow me?" All right. Okay. So, um, one of the things that they hope that you will do when they're all up in your energy is that you will react. Okay. So one of the things to set up protection against them is to have class. Like keep class when you're doing your work. They don't expect you to, because they know that you're probably sensing their energy. If you're manifesting at the time, then they know that you're probably sensing their energy. So they know that they're annoying you. Their invasion is annoying you. They're hoping it do, because they want to look like the classy one in your life path. They want you to look like the false one based upon your reaction. Okay? They want you to also react in a way that was they could sabotage your character, and it would seem like you're the one trying to copy them. So you see what I'm saying? So there was a lady on YouTube that did that to me when I reacted to her harvesting my spiritual content after I donated to her channel. She came on my channel trying to say, did a clip and try to tell everybody that I was unstable. Like narcissists do when you react to their abuse and criminal behavior. And it was amazing that some people was falling for it, but that's normal because flying monkeys always fall for the switcheroo with trying to, making the victim look like the bad guy when the real bad guy is the person trying to disguise the dirt they did. Okay, it's like misdirection. So these witches and warlocks, that's what they do. They pretty much know if you're online and they're online and you're on the same app. They know you're pretty much, will find out that they're in your energy. But they're hoping you will react in a way that they can sabotage your character. Because then they feel like, oh, I'm able to track you with my deviation, with my minions. But now I can make everybody think that you have problems. You might be gifted, but you're mentally unstable. So maybe your fans will come to me because of that lie I said about your mental health. So what you want to do is maintain class, okay? Now, if you're going to come for their throat, by give them some smoke, make it brief. Make it brief, okay? They actually do want you to drain yourself out after they have used you. They want you to. So you don't keep doing your destiny. You will go into hiding. You will go into introspection, and they just keep on doing your purpose and keep on harvesting your money. So don't feed into their energy tactics to have you drain your energy out through reaction. So minimize how much smoke you give them. Because they can never outrun you or outperform you in your service unless you let them drain you out with your reaction. Okay. Hi, everybody. Glad to see everyone in here. Good morning. Okay. Once again, if you'd like to replay the video and you're just coming in, it will be $7. I will be giving out other guidance as well. This is a very important video to watch right now. So another thing with these witches and warlocks, one of the things you want to do is bring them down to their knees. You don't want to just block them energetically. You want them to be drained out so that you don't have to keep the battle going so hard. The battle is not so strong. So one of the things I like to do is do a random disappearing act where I actually thought of a fake life path. So when they do their deviation and they talk to minions, and them entities and minions get your life path, it's based upon what you was thinking about in the morning, normally in the morning hours, or when you was in meditation. So you could do a fake meditation. You can actually do a fake life path vision thinking. That will give them a false one. Okay? So once you figure out when they're probably doing deviation on you, you use their own practice as a weapon against them. You have a fake vision. Okay? They have shown this in certain movies where people have done that, where in certain psychic movies where people looked at things on purpose to distract the witches, to make the witches think that that's where they was going when it wasn't. I think it was in the movie Jumper. I think that was the movie where she did that in. So this is because they think because they're leading with ego, they're going to think they're right. Okay? Because they're like, oh, I always seem to be able to find your tracks. So you're going to give them anxiety because they're going to wonder, like, now that you know, or I sense that you sense me, is this vision that you're giving me through this deviation, is it correct? So they're going to have to gamble and bet on your vision. And because they're afraid of missing out on your energy, most likely they're going to think that the vision was real. And they're going to go ahead and follow you and be wrong. Okay? They're going to do what you falsely said you were going to do. And they're going to be on a false path and you're going to be on the right one. Okay? Misdirection. They never expect you to be a magician as well. Okay? A magician knows how to do misdirection as well, especially when they're up against someone that's wicked. There's a good movie to watch. It's called The Illusionist. Okay? Check out that movie. That's a wonderful movie to watch. It's called The Illusionist. And that in that movie he did that. Okay, because he realized he was up against really manipulative emperor and a wicked investigator. So he knew he had to put something out there that they might believe and think they had them figured out. Meanwhile, the real trick was happening elsewhere. So you can do that as well. Okay. Now you want to do this sporadically, but you always want to do this when you are at your strongest at fasting. You know, like your energy is strong because you maybe been fasting, or you're really onto a money making idea. Because last thing you want them to do is to be riding your energy in the early release of your money making idea. Okay, you don't really want them to be on your back so early in the manifestation, in the arrival of the manifestation. So really, you should become very spontaneous and unpredictable. This is especially during when the earth is in significant placements in the natal charts for us all. So like if the earth energy is in your wealth house, if you're in the natal charts, or if you have an earth moon, or if you're born in an earth season, but there's an earth moon as well, and your career's earth, then you probably should be very spontaneous at that time, very unpredictable. And believe it or not, the people that you deal with on a regular are the main people who are opening up the door to those witches and warlocks. If your family is in low vibration and doing toxic stuff, and you're connecting with them, it's making it easy for the witches and warlocks to get access to you through them. So you should actually become very unpredictable to all low vibrational people who are doing low vibe stuff to themselves. It doesn't have to be to you. Anyone that is doing toxic stuff like unhealthy eating, drugs and alcohol, stagnant, a lot of stagnant energy they in, you want to stay away from them too. You want to be unpredictable to them as well. Hi, everybody. Okay. Now, the one of the best things to do when you know that you're like you feel like you're ready to break ground and start a new business. So some of y'all should be possibly looking into more job opportunities and career changes. When you're doing that, okay, which normally you'll feel like you want to do that when we have a lot of earth elemental energy coming to our, our chakras. When you're in that energy, that is a really important time to have quiet moments away from the familiar places. So you want to go to places you ain't been to in a long time and have your quiet moments, or you want to have your quiet moments with your career books or whatever, or educational resources. You want to take those books up in the woods, okay? Because keep in mind, when you're making plans to make money, they're making plans to get your money, okay? So, and they're betting on your meditation quiet moments in the places that they know you be, that they've seen you be in pictures and videos, and YouTube videos or Facebook pictures. So what you want to be is it's just somewhere that they're not used to you being. For example, I'm currently sitting where I haven't sat in a long time and done videos. Okay. Um, so if I was sitting where I normally would do videos in my kitchen in that one seat, it would probably be easier for them to grab my wealth frequency at that time. Okay. If they have been tracking me with their tarot so hard during the Earth moon. So that's why I'm not sitting in that spot. Okay. This all is also why I'm burning this forest candle. See? Because this puts a woody scent around me, which actually makes it hard for them to connect with my energy. So I don't know if some of you are into burning frankincense, but I keep a forest candle. In the winter season, it's hard for us to get to the woods and all that because it's too cold. We may not be able to tolerate the cold, especially if you're older. So, unless you take some hot cocoa, hot tea into the woods with you. But if you're just not trying to put up with the cold air, but you want your ancestors to protect your energy, you can get you a forest candle. That's why I have this here. Hi, everybody. Okay. One of the main times you should be setting up protection um, from witches and warlocks is when you're trying to come up with solutions for your health or finances. Those are the two things they want most of all. So when they're checking on their minions to find out if you're in one of those type of energies, they know that there's a possibility that you will succeed in those two because your intuition told you to work on them too, those two areas. So they feel like they hit the jackpot when they can connect to your energy in that, because health is wealth. Your health leads you to all wealth. So if you're currently in the middle of the road, even with a health breakthrough, that's especially when it's going to get harder at protecting your energy. Like when a horse is on the last lap of crossing the finish line, the other horses start going harder. That's the same thing, okay? So if you're like almost at the finish line of releasing a project, like you're 85% almost done with it, or you're like 85% almost, into your health plan, then that's when you really should be putting up energy blocks to block people. And you should also get rid of a lot of junk energy. And you should actually keep your throat chakra and your genital chakra very clean, because often their energy will send lust spirits and argumentative spirits to you to drain you of that energy and then deliver that energy to them, your energy to them. So let's say that you're becoming unpredictable at that time, that you're almost done, almost at the finish line with your health goal or your business goal, or you're almost done taking a leap with a new career, getting a business off the ground. And they feel like they just cannot seem to access your energy a lot. Then their cosmic negative web will actually start to send magnetically to you people possibly from your past that may have harvested your energy before. You'll notice that the random thoughts of these people come to you, or you're running into these people, or someone that's toxic in your life suddenly is trying to like love bomb you. So that is just the dark dimension trying to get you to release your energy so that the energy is up for grabs in the air by the witches and the warlocks. Okay? So this is a day where you need to guard your thoughts very carefully. Okay? You want to be about business and health, and definitely spiritual health. Okay? So try to connect your spiritual practices to whatever business you have. Now, of course, because I did this video, there's going to be witches and warlocks that's going to say, okay, I'm going to do it. Because they love to make people think that they're tapped in like we're tapped in. But they have work to do that we don't have to do. See? They're jumping to our energy, and they still have other work to clear out before they get in our energy. I have a ebook that kind of talks about this, and I have some services I provide spiritually that will help people to understand about seasons for certain things. Like, we all have certain seasons where we're supposed to be working on certain things. But the witches and warlocks, they don't even care about that. They just want to just always work on what you're working on. So they end up jamming up their life anyway, jamming things up. But the important thing is to try to, when you get guidance from people, because the witches and warlocks want you to think, those dark ones want you to think that they are the ultimate guide. They want you to think that nothing's wrong in their life. That's one way you can tell. Okay? They give off an image that everything's flawless, that they're just always the perfect minister guide. And you know them when they're constantly doing all these readings and all this shaky stuff. They never talk about their struggles. It's they're so very closed off. Okay, because they know their struggles are going to reveal to you how fake they are, because they're currently doing something that's unrelated to their struggles when they really should be working on their struggles. So that's why a lot of them live a very secret life where they never want you to know what they're going through. Okay? Y'all know on this channel, I have told y'all the struggles I have gone through with my daughter, with my mother, with my husband, with my health, with my home and my neighborhood. Y'all know I can be very unguarded at times. But witches and warlocks, they are so concerned about looking like the ultimate leader that works for God. Okay? They're leading with vanity. So that's why a lot of them, you'll listen to them give you guidance for 2-3 years on these platforms. But you'll notice you never ever know really anything about them. Okay? That's how you catch them. That's how you catch them. The reason why also they don't want you to know about their weaknesses or struggles is because they know they're not protected because of what they're doing. So they know that if they get attacked, their struggles get attacked, most likely their guardians will let it happen because they're doing dirt to you. So this is why they don't want you to know about their struggles. Hi, everybody. Yeah. So Now, this may sound ridiculous. Some of y'all may think, no, I don't believe that. It does. Okay? When you protect those who are doing God's work, you get more protected from the witches and warlocks. So people who have helped you have breakthroughs spiritually with divine messages, and they was right on time. We're not talking about like telling you after you did it, because that's what the witches and warlocks do. They tell you something after you've done it. But the light workers, we tell you stuff that you ain't even done yet, and then you be like, oh wait, I was thinking of doing this in my intuition or whatever. Because see, God comes early. God shows up 10-15 minutes early, even before the download is sensible to us. So that's the how you tell as well. We're on time, where we're not like saying, oh, I knew that you did this. We're saying what we need to, what's coming, okay, or what's happening right at this moment. Now, this is going to sound ridiculous, as I said. The people who have helped you right in the moment of when you needed it, came through right when you needed the help. Not because you begged, not because you complained, not because you argued, but somehow they was just intuitively connected to you, and they just sent you this information, and they just knew, okay? Or they just said something that like you really needed to hear at the moment. Those people you need to protect, okay? When you protect and be of service to them, their ancestors start to connect with your ancestors, and then there's a stronger bond. So be of service to your protectors. Meaning, this is people that've given you some actual knowledge that have helped you to protect yourself and to have breakthroughs. And they have given you this knowledge right when you needed it. Not where you stored it away and then 2 weeks later you needed it. Not after you didn't already done it. They've given it to you right when you needed it. For example, what I'm about to say right now. Y'all will find out that y'all need this. Quiet moments this weekend. Okay? They're so critical to have that it's almost like if you don't have those quiet moments in which you're not overstanding your ground and things, you're not overstanding, you're not overreacting. If you don't have those quiet moments, you're going to end up manifesting energy blocks instead of energy breakthroughs. Okay, that's what's going to happen. If you deliver so much power out in a negative way and in your thoughts, what's going to happen is the obstacles that you were almost through, they're going to lock up. They're going to lock back up. Okay? Hi, everybody. Okay. Yeah, we have a lot of hardcore. It's getting real bad with that. I have to agree with that. Somebody said Christian warlocks. Yeah, it's getting really, really bad. Okay. There's a lot of people who, and some of them are Christians. They literally will watch, your neighbors are the main ones doing it. If you have any Christian neighbors, some of them are watching you have your breakthroughs. And then they're going to the scriptures that's related to your breakthrough. And then they're like telling everybody, yeah, God gave me this scripture or whatever. Okay? It's really wild. And they don't want you to know. If I often feel like if someone is a devoted Christian and they're always having problems with their hair and they don't have cancer, they're probably a Christian warlock or a Christian witch. Okay? Because anyone that is of any religion that is holy and clean, they would be going outdoors a lot enough. They would be wanting the fresh air, that their hair would not, they would not have so many bald patches. They would not be wearing wigs all the time. I'm not trying to hate on nobody, but wigs is something you wear only when you really have to, because wigs block you from the energy from God. Okay? And I see a lot of devoted Christians really wig happy. Really wig happy, and I don't understand how their head is getting the power of God with those wigs on. Okay? There's no way anyone should be running up in church with a wig on when they don't have to wear it. Even if your hair is short, go to church with your short hair. You know, cut it down to one even length and go to church. Your head needs God. Like, that is so deep. Like, your head actually needs God. And when God tries to contact you and you pray, that wig is literally blockage. And if you're wearing wigs that are not of your own creation, your own genetics, and you're doing constant witchcraft in the house of God. Like when you're going to holy blessed churches, you're disrespecting the church. Exactly. Like, I can feel it, y'all, when I go on walks, okay, and I go on quiet moment walks, and I have my hood on, like that coat on. I could tell that I can't really feel God. This is how I know that we're not meant to keep our head covered all day, every day. I can feel that I become codependent on man rather than God. When my head is covered all day, I can feel that I'm out on a limb, and if somebody whose head's not covered don't come help me, I'm stuck. Like, I can feel that energy. Hi, everybody. Now, I'm not saying you can't cover your head if you are a Christian or Muslim woman and you're like, well, I'm trying to cover my head. When you cover your head before God, it's supposed to be transparent material. It's supposed to be where the essence of God can get through that material. Okay? The covering is just to humble you a little bit, not to put you in, not put your energy in a prison cell away from God. So whatever you cover your head with, it needs to be thin, no matter what the season is. It has to be like of a thin material. Hi, everybody. Yeah. Like but women keep covering their hair with these scarves, these turbans, these thick wigs. No, I'm telling y'all. Y'all stop doing that, y'all. Stop doing that. It needs to be thin. And it shouldn't really cover, it shouldn't be all the way over your forehead. You know how people cover their forehead? No, y'all. This is why we have a vitamin D deficiency problem in the African American community. All these wig hearing, scarf wearing people. My doctor said the common deficiency in the African American community is vitamin D. And you get vitamin D from the sky. But we are too busy wearing these scarves and these wigs and these weaves, these thick blankets. I'm seeing women wearing full-blown blankets on their heads. And then wonder why, like, our intuition is not connecting to God. We're going in the wrong direction and stuff. And why we have mental health problems. Your connection with God protects you from mental health problems. But it's rampant in the Black community because we will not stop covering our head. Like, it's like we won't stop. And I'm so sick and tired of seeing this, that it's like it's all in the YouTube videos, like blanket heads, scarf heads, turban heads, wig heads. I'm like, oh, this is making my head have trouble talking to God. Yeah. telling you, if you have kids, tell them stop wearing bonnets to school. That's why the kids got bad attitudes. They're walking around with scarves and bonnets on their head. They're in bad moods. They're not getting enough skylight. Like the sky, God's sky, the light of God makes you happy. It lifts your spirits. If you're walking around these streets with bonnets on your heads, your spirits is low. That's why people think you're negative. Like, that's why people be like, how come black women are always negative? Well, they bonnets, like straight up. Like, I call it what it is. You know? I could barely talk to my daughter one time in the car. She picked me up with a bonnet on. I said, I know you won't be like walking these streets in the store with your bonnet on. She was like, no, Mom, I just picked you up with the bonnet on. I was like, it's irritating me because it's jeopardizing my energy. Because I know you're cut off. See, I know you're not really connected to God, and now you're putting me at risk because I'm with you. And you're making decisions while I'm with you. Somebody said I'm super. Somebody said I'm surprised I ain't dead. Exactly. Stop hanging out low. If you're an African American woman, stop hanging out with women who wear scarves and wigs and bonnets for no good reason. Like, maybe you need to ask them, like, why you wearing that bonnet? Like, why you wearing that wig? They'll probably be like, it's mine, I bought it. That's the sign. That's the sign not to hang out with them. Okay? If they say people will laugh at me, why do you care that they're laughing at your hair texture? Why do you care about that? Like, I know in Africa when they wear scarves, it's not an everyday scarf thing. Like, they have ceremonies and special occasions or whatever, but when I see their videos on YouTube and they're like out in their yard, they don't have scarves on their head. Like, I'm trying to understand why we wear scarves all day, every day. I hate the way my own community get messy with everything that our culture is. Why do we gotta get exaggerate and embellish it and get messy with it? Y'all. You know, it's like no one has to approve of you don't need approval of your looks and your genetics, but only from God, like for real. So just go outside with your short, kinky hair. Okay? And I feel like if anybody who don't love your genetics as they are, then they're cut off from God. They're cut off from God. Because there's not one person walking this street ugly when they're in their true genetics. God didn't make nobody ugly. Natural. And there's not one natural person. If you ever look at people, when you detox your eyes from this matrix system, you will be able to see like how everybody is just so unique. Natural. Like, you'll be like, wow, their faces is so unique. I ain't never seen nothing like that. You'll see that. But a lot of people can't see it because it's like everybody's looking the same. Scarf head, wig head, baseball hat head. It's the same. It's all the same. Y'all. For real. You know, these quiet moments on the weekend is to help you figure out how you can build a better relationship with God. Like, I feel like now we can't even work on problems with people, just us and the person. We literally have to bring God in it every time now. That's how much we're under attack with this negative energy, with these witches. That every time you sit down to talk to family with problems, you have to literally bring God in it. Because their mind go right to the brainwashing of the witches that they talking to in secret. These witches, a lot of witches, the witches outnumber warlocks. Warlocks don't even thrive without witches. They can barely make it on their own without witches. So the problem is these witches working, destroying marriages and parents and the kids all in secret and stuff, you know, and So on the weekends, you're supposed to be building up stronger defenses against these witches. For real. Some of these men wouldn't even be warlocks if it wasn't for a bunch of witches around them. You know, teaching them how to be. This is some serious stuff. I've seen it with my own eyes. My family and my daughter's family. Witches. And some of y'all don't want to admit this because women get triggered. But women outnumber the men. That means if a lot of women stop being witches, these men will have no choice but to stop being warlocks. They'll have no choice. They're outnumbered. We could use our number, our vast amount of us to make changes in this world and in our families. We need old traditions. Some of these old traditions need to be did and done and buried. They never worked for us, you know, always changing our hair texture, straightening our hair all the time, all that type of stuff. That are, you know, always coloring our hair all the time. That stuff, our grandparents, they did that. That stuff is obsolete. We could not hear, they could not hear God enough. And that's why two generations down is in trouble in society. This is why we got this society. Their intuition couldn't even make them make smart decisions for the laws in the community. They was broken because of what they were doing with their self-care. If your self-care is like fake and unapproved by God, then there's no way you're going to make smart decisions. Like I know that whenever the devil tempt me to have even a little bit of self-hate, all of a sudden I'm struggling with my diet. All of a sudden I'm not tolerant of my family's mistakes. All of a sudden you know, I need to have the last word. I'm keeping it real. Like all of a sudden. And I be catching myself. I'll be like, no. How did I get to this point? How did I get to this point? And then I start thinking about, okay, there was a little bit of this and that in which my self-care was being corrupted. Self-care is spiritual. And I said I was being, I was taught that the way I was born. I was taught to say I'm not allowed to have mistakes to be fixed. I'm supposed to never make mistakes. So now I got self-hate. And this self-hate starts to make me not let go of negative energy when it's time to let go of it. And this is what happens in the female world. And that's exactly how you are tricked and led into a witch coven. Self-hate. Self-hate. Always looking, needing approval outside of yourself leads you to have narcissistic energy with people. And that narcissistic energy, when it's not dealt with, it leads you to become a full-blown witch. Hi, everybody. Somebody said Persment, Fearment, whatever. 33. I'm looking at y'all comments. Yeah, 66%. It's double of us. If we 66%, look, I'm gonna tell you no lie. The female community, the female world is corrupting this society so bad that the masculine energy is now out of control. It don't even know how to calm down. Like it don't even know how to calm down. That 65% of attacks, 65% women who are attacked is black women. 65%, and it's like every 60 minutes a black woman is attacked. That ridiculously high number compared to all other female race groups. Okay? Why do y'all think this is happening? It's because there's so many witches in this world that the male population is taking it out on anyone that any female that looks like the witch that did them wrong, that corrupted them. So it's like even if you're a God fearing woman, if you happen to look like the genetics or have the genetics related to this like the witch that did this man wrong, you may still be a victim out here. This is why if you're a woman, you have to, and you are God fearing, you have to be heavily protected when you go out here. The dark witches, they don't want us to stop their plan, so they coming for us. The broken men that want somebody to pay for what was done to them by witches, they coming for us. This is real, and the witches that want to be us is coming for us. And the witches that could not beat us is coming for us. That's why women are the most attacked out here. It's just too many type of groups that is attacking feminine energy. And I'm speaking of this because it's feminine energy month, especially older spiritual feminine energy. And we need to get ministry right now so that we are not tempted to go to the dark side. Some of us have been cheated, and 300,000 Black women fired from their jobs in the past year. That will tempt any woman. Like, what? During this economy, that's tempting them to become witches. They tempted to go to the dark side. So I'm sure we got more witches now. We got more dark witches. 300,000 Black women fired from their jobs. And I'm sure there was plenty of white women fired too, to put in men in their place due to what's going on with the male-female gender political war. And when these desperate times make people be like, F it, I'm gonna just go ahead and go dark mode. Especially like now the holidays is here. They're like, what am I gonna do? I was counting on that job for the holidays. So now some of them are like, I'm going to just go ahead and be a shapeshifter, at least to the end of the year, and may God forgive me. Some of them, they just try out being a dark witch. I'm going to be a dark witch for this season to get through. Well, I'll give a little back. Maybe God will forgive me. Oh, this is deep. Oh, hi, everybody. The original high priestess was women. And as soon as us women will realize this, we will start taking our place with being spiritual leaders. The only reason why high priestesses in the ancient days, in Egyptian times, worked behind the scenes, it was for their protection, because the pharaohs didn't want them to be kidnapped or arrows shot at them. Their bodies was frail. The Egyptian women were very skinny and lean then. They really couldn't fight for themselves. So they normally was behind the pharaoh, giving him the divine messages. But I don't like that there's so many women abusing their high priestess energy, taking advantage of it, and being selfish and self-absorbed and forming these covens, and then trying to use our practices to strengthen their witchery. Someone emailed me, I think it was Love the Most High, and somebody said they fasting or whatever, and then doing terrors. I said, see what I'm saying? Fasting was not supposed to be because you want to do deviation to cheat or to try to rob the angels or to rob us, the earth angels. But the fact that people are using fasting now, I'm gonna hurry up and fast to release all this negative energy I got from my dark energy, but I'm gonna go ahead and do tarots afterwards to see what I can do to get out of this bondage during fasting. It's like, see, that's what makes me not even, this is exactly why I don't do fasting for enlightenment. I don't even do it anymore because it's like they synchronize their fasting with us. It's like now it's like I just eat when I'm hungry. You know what I'm saying? And I don't even try to be like, oh, I'm a fast or whatever. For me, it's like if I fast, it's because I'm like really sick. I got to be dealing with an illness for me to fast. Or I got to be dealing with like grief. I'm trying to get through grief and the devil's trying to make me do things to myself. That's when I'll fast. But all of this like fasting just to fast, like people are doing it like I want to be spiritually powerful. That sounds like kind of low key witchcraft. Like I don't think the creator meant for us to meditate and fast just to be extra spiritual powerful. We're supposed to wait till the creator decides to just give it to us. You know, I think that's I feel like it's banging down the creator's door when people will fast for spiritual boost. That's to me, that's like, that's spiritual opportunist. That's a spiritual opportunist. There's an opportunist for everything. Hi everybody. Right? No, I don't believe that people should fast for guilt. No, go ask for forgiveness. You know, if you're fasting to get over some shame for doing somebody wrong, like I want to be able to forgive myself. You know what? You can easily forgive yourself when you go ask for forgiveness. Like I noticed that's the thing. Like I won't tell the person I did wrong, but I'll just pray to God for forgiving me. So I'll fast to be forgiven. You could dismiss me with that. Like to me, that's like passive aggressive narcissism. It's like covert narcissism. Like you're trying to not be, you're not trying to deal with the consequences of telling that person what you did and owning up to it. You're trying to still run from it and pretend like you're not because you ran to church. To me, it's just too manipulative. It's like just go to the person and face the consequences. Like just go ahead and do that. Shouldn't have did what you did. Like I don't like how people use God's name and the church to not have to deal with their shame, to like not have to face the music. I don't like that. That's like one of my pet peeves. And I know people who do that. I know people who have done me wrong, but they're like, "Oh, I asked God for forgiveness." It's like you still haven't like came clean to me, and I know you did it. Like I saw you did it, or you was the only one in my house, so I know you did it. You know, it's like you still ain't saying nothing. Like I know somebody who robbed me, and it's like 10 years later they still will not admit that they robbed me. Like two people robbed me. Neither one of these people will admit that they did. Hold on, y'all. Off of there. And they was the one dude. He was the only one that had my purse, so that's how I know he robbed me. Okay. The other dude was the only one that was in my car. That's how I know that he did it. But both of them are real religious, all about the church, but they will not. They want me to change the truth somehow because they don't want to say sorry to me. One person took my rent money. Okay, I literally said, "Can you watch my purse? I have my rent money, half of my rent money in here. I don't want nobody stealing my rent money." They say, "Sure." Okay, they handed me my purse back. Rent money was gone. And when I said, "I would like to check your pockets and your coat, because I know you took it. You were the only one who had my purse." They were like, "No, I'm not emptying my pockets or nothing." But they go to church every weekend. They're real church going. But I'm not beating up on church going people, but I'm saying some of the most wickedest people is up in the church. That's why they in there. You know, when people tell me, like, when people say, "Oh," try to accuse me of being a witch because I'm so connected and I get downloads all the time, I say, you're saying that because I don't go to church. But I would run to church if I was out here doing wickedness. You're running the church because you obviously need church for something that you're not saying. It's something you're dealing with that's real bad. Now, if I run a church, if I went to run a church, it would be because my health problem or whatever. But I don't have to run a church for that because the Creator always just naturally gets me through it because I deserve to get through it. I'm not doing anything bad out here. I'm not fornicating, none of that. So I don't have to get extra protection from the church to get through something. And I know it's not my season to die in whatever I'm going through because I know what my mission is. And I know that I'm not doing dirt that would trigger the Creator to take my life while I'm still doing my mission. See, the Creator takes some people while they're doing their mission because they're still thinking that they can do dirt while they do their mission, and the Creator's not going to hold them accountable. They still thinking they can be toxic. For example, there's been celebrities that was doing toxic stuff to their bodies while they're doing their mission. And then before their best-selling album dropped, they died, okay, of some health problem. The Creator wants you to respect your body, to glamorize self-respect for your body and yourself. Glamorize it. And it will protect you. And your body will be protected during your mission. But these witches and warlocks do not glamorize protecting their body. They don't. So they're blocked from their fortune. They're blocked in their mission. And they get so tired of being blocked in their mission that they try to just use what everybody else can do. Psychic stuff. Everybody is psychic. The devil is psychic. Demonic people are psychic. So they just say, well, I might as well just be psychic. I can be psychic. I'm blocked. I'm creatively blocked. I'm physically blocked. My relationship, I can't even track the divine partner. I'm blocked. But hey, I could be psychic. And then they realize they ain't that powerful psychically. So they say, let me go get this and that. Let me go get tarots all the time. Let me do that. Let me get crystal balls and stones all the time. It's ridiculous. Hi, everybody. If people knew what I knew, I'm just saying, y'all, I didn't seen some things. I didn't seen. When you can see in the other dimensions, almost on a daily basis, it changes you for life. Not everybody rest enough and be at peace enough and have enough positive energy in their mind to be allowed to see beyond our dimension. We know that there has been biblical people that went into the mountains and had visions and stuff and was able to see in dimensions and stuff. But it has to be a very positive mind. You can't always think the universe hates you or God hates you. You can't just keep thinking that God hates you. These witches and warlocks think that God does not love them, y'all. They literally think that they're not ever going to get no help. There's no help for them. That's why they cheat. That's why they do what they do. And it's like really sad. They think they don't have no other options to be provided for. Yet there's endless resources out here. They just don't want to humble themselves like we can. We can humble ourselves and go stand in the food bank line because it's our food. This is our land. We have already worked for it. So it's already ours. But they are not in that energy. That's not how they think. They got a reputation to protect. They got an image to protect. It's ridiculous. Y'all, anytime I speak to, especially a female, who's like, Nah, I ain't. I'm good. I'm all paranoid to see if anybody know if they're getting food, bank food. I don't deal with them no more. I don't deal with them no more. Cause it's like, no, that is actually your food. Like, how could you think that you're a beggar when it actually came from the land that was your ancestors, or the land that your ancestors worked on or built civilization on? How could you have a problem with that? I'm living next to a bunch of women that the moment they even see that you're living humble as a stoic, they won't speak to you. But they jump in their Christian buggies every weekend and say Christian on it. They jump right in it. They jump right in it. You can walk down the street and you can be dressed like Jesus, very humble, and nope, won't speak. But sit out in front of your home and praise God. And I only see women doing this. I'm not being a woman hater. The men in my neighborhood don't do this. They high, Now I'm not gonna lie. There's a female gay guy that don't speak. He in that energy. He in that fake favorite energy. But all the rest of the men, how you doing? Good morning, whatever, blah blah. Even the white men, the black, good morning. No matter what they got, what you got is good morning. But the witches, something different, y'all. Something different. I don't understand how we can demand respect for our feminine energy when we don't even respect it. We so powerful. Every woman walking this earth is extremely connected to God. Okay? I was talking to this one man and he said, I was on a bus, he said, you know what? We've all been deceived when we were told man came first. Man did not come first. This was a black man. He was like, woman came first. And he was like breaking it down to me. And I said, you know what? I always thought that was weird that people say man came first. Yet, the egg in a woman's body, okay, it's literally like something that needs to be fertilized, okay? That would be like a seed. Like you water the seed and it grows and it transforms and it becomes a flower. So isn't that what happens with an egg? So I'm trying to understand why why the rain and the food is being told that it came first. Y'all. Hi. That makes no sense. Why would God just put a whole bunch of food, like that garden energy everywhere, just laying around on the ground and then say, now I'm going to bring the seeds? Like that's backwards. That's backwards. Oh my goodness. Why would God put the garden nourishments out here before the seeds is here? So, I mean, if the creation of earth is working in synchronicity with our energy, which it is, it's only logical to say women came first. That's why they still have not found a male body older than a woman's body. The oldest body found on earth was a female, and she did have color to her, and her genetics is of color, of ebony. So the point that I'm making is we have a personal responsibility. We have a personal responsibility. The female energy only took second seat for protection. It didn't take second seat because it came second. Y'all, it took second seat because it is fragile. Like a flower, a petal is fragile. Okay? So if you throw a bunch of stones at a seed, even an egg, like the salmon egg, okay, you might destroy it. So it's only for protection. That's it. That is it. And we have our home for protection now. We have weaponry for protection now. We have police for protection now. We actually have body armor for protection. I'm not saying don't get a man, but due to the fact that mankind has been weakened to be to not care about its masculine energy. A lot of men are not celebrating their masculine energy as much as they should be. Now women have to find other forms of protection. But it doesn't mean that you give up your high priestess job. You still have to do your priestess job, your high priestess job behind protection. Okay? There's a thing. There's a such thing. It's called we hear the deliverer. All right, we say that with Moses and the same, whatever, and Jesus, deliverer. But they were in feminine energy when they got that information, and I refuse to argue with people about that. I refuse. You didn't hear about them really being very husband-like and celebrating their husband bulge. They really wasn't doing that. So they were in feminine energy when they got those downloads. I just call it what it is, y'all. Okay? I just call it what it is. And I have a problem with that. I have a problem with that, but that's for another discussion. I have a problem with that, okay? Because to me, it's using both energies. It's using both, feminine and male. Okay? So I guess that is what classifies you as a saint. You feminine and male, you both. You ride both parts of the scales. I don't think God really wanted that. If God wanted that, man and woman would be attached by the head and the hip. All of us would be Siamese twins out here with a male twin attached to us. So because that's not happening and we're separate, God did want some separation there. So I don't like the fact that there's like harvesting of each other's energy. It has to stop. Like everybody needs to just stay in their lane with they gender spiritual energy. I'm not talking about body gender. I'm talking about spiritual energy gender. Everyone needs to just stay in their lane with that. Okay? Yeah, men have a second sense for sensing money, sensing when business is going to do good. Okay? All right, sensing when danger and things like that. Okay? Strategy and all that type of stuff, and strength and might and all that. But I'm finding it troubling that so many people want the feminine energy now. It's like the feminine energy is being so harvested that women are slipping into masculine energy without even knowing they are, because their energy is like not being celebrated or not being respected. It's being harvested too much. It's look at all this. Men get 7 wives, don't get married, sleep around, who cares about body count? You're a man, all that type of, see what I'm saying? That's harvesting female energy. That's harvesting female energy. And we need to get back to everybody staying in a spiritual gender energy. Okay? I'm not saying you're not allowed to feel you have the wrong physical gender. You're allowed to feel that way. But you're really not in control of the spiritual gender power that was assigned to you. It's always going to try to remind you that that's it. That's the main one. So trying to oppress that is just going to drive you to insanity. And I see people going insane because they're trying to oppress that. Okay? They think they can oppress their born spiritual gender power. They think they can do that. Like, oh, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go there. And then it's like, okay, you see it like warped and distorted. They flip-flopping. They going from feminine, masculine, feminine. And you're like, I don't know who you are. Like this week, you was just all masculine, You was talking about building a business. You was talking about breaking ground. You was talking about money and all this other stuff, and and hunting and all this stuff, and now you talking about beauty and prayer and affirmations, and I'm confused. Like I said, I know there ain't going to be a lot of people that's going to agree with me with this, but I'm telling you no lie. Like, if we just all stay in our own lane, we'd have less witches and warlocks. Witches and warlocks, what they're doing is they're playing with gender energy. They screwing around with it. If you notice, some of the warlocks, you can't even tell whether they're a woman or a man. They're not. They really. I'm talking about like how they act. You're like, I don't know if you're like woman or a man. Like, what's going on here? It's like, okay, pick a. You're it's wild because they switch up. It's almost like they're switching up according to the abundant gender that's around them, the spiritual gender energy that's around them. And it gets to be very confusing. Like, there was a girl on YouTube who was doing it. Like, she would be like really hard and dry all the time, and then suddenly when there would be a lot of men in her live videos, all of a sudden she's switching to feminine energy, and it got to be like really confusing. Okay, now, and of course there's a such thing as drier feminine energy. It don't mean that you're masculine, and I'm sick and tired of that too. I'm sick and tired of people saying just because a woman has a deeper, drier type of voice or raspy voice like I do, that we're automatically masculine. If we're doing feminine work, okay, and we are approaching people with as much grace and compassion that we can have, we are being feminine. It doesn't matter about the strength of our voice. Okay? We're still being feminine. So I'm sick and tired of the spiritual feminine energy that people say should be in church. It has to be speak only when told to speak, or have your voice so soft you can hear a mouse peeing on cotton in here. That's not true, because there is literally feminine energy that's old, that was found in some of the most ancient Stone Age type of places. I highly doubt that in the beginning of time that energy, that feminine energy was soft as dove feathers. I highly doubt, because it came from a place where there was desert and stone and sand. Okay? So it's about the work you're doing and how you're doing it that determines whether you are taking your place, even spiritually gender, when it comes to serving God, doing your purpose. Women should have quiet moments. I'm not saying that men shouldn't, but women should. Okay? When you look at a flower, often a flower won't even move while you're watching it. Like, you'll be like, is this flower really alive? But then you come back and it's bloomed. Because a flower likes to grow in secret. A flower likes to grow when it's not watched. You literally have to put a camera on a flower to like really watch it. It grows so slowly on purpose, so you cannot monitor it so closely. Women have to learn how to have growth in quiet and peace and silence, in their homes in peace. Yeah. But it's like, I find that women today aren't shedding in peace. They're not breaking out of their seats in peace. You can hear them all up on the platforms raising hell about different stuff. Out in these streets, in the bars you can hear them. It's like, they're not shedding in peace. You know, a flower is supposed to be like, okay, now you see my beauty, but you don't know how I got here. Because that's between me and God. But I'm noticing women have a tendency to now tell too much of their business. They up in these comments, I'm doing this, doing that, I'm doing this, and they're telling all their business to complete strangers, possibly ghosts, like literally. Like they, just so much of their business all over the internet. Bearing false witness all day. I consider bearing false witness if you're talking about people. That's between you and that person. That's personal business. If I feel some way about this person, that's nobody's business but me and that person, really. Like, but, and that's me. If I am sharing about how I feel about that person, I'm shedding. But that's supposed to be a secret because people don't know who know that person. That's why we got so much women on women crime starting to happen now. Look at all these cases with young girls being attacked by other women and stuff. Like the one Shanquella. What happened to Shanquella? What happened to the other woman? Even my daughter was attacked by several girls several times. One of don't didn't the girl didn't want to. The girl was handling the business on Facebook instead of handling the business with my daughter in private. She handled the business with my daughter in the cafeteria around other women when she could have handled that business by them two dealt with that, or with the parents. See what I'm saying? I walk down the street, I see hair weaves on the ground. When girls done got their weave snatched out, it's really getting that bad with the feminine energy. Lack of privacy. I have neighbors that live next to me who have been attacked by other neighbors, women. Their daughters attacked by other women or whatever. It's out of control. I'm trying to understand, if we have so many women running the church, why aren't they getting better? Like, why aren't they out here with better attitudes? Why are they still walking around with dirty looks on their face? Why are they still blowing shade and cold to each other? If we've come this long with Muslim religion and Christianity, all the way from Malcolm X, all the way from Methodist with Martin Luther King, all of that, why are we still out here in this street projecting negative energy to each other? Why is us women still doing that? Women do not need to be out in these streets until they have shedded their negative energy. Because when we go out in these streets and because we're receivers and we're receiving all this toxic energy, we start to be toxic masculine women. Okay, we have to be ready to receive all this toxic energy, and we're not going to avoid feeling it. We're natural receivers. So we have to be well grounded before we even go to the store to get bubble gum. Like, literally, is that serious? If you're going to go to the store and get bubble gum as a woman, like, I'm going to get me a stick of bubble gum and sweet tea this morning. Be like, I have to be really grounded because all that energy going to come right at me. And then I might go ahead and slip into toxic masculine energy and ready to fight and be real aggressive. I think women need to have a prayer ceremony before they leave their house. A prayer ceremony before they go into crowded public spaces. Because the negative energy is just so heavy now. We have so much access to strangers, way more than the 90s. That now we can hear and see all the negative energy. You can just press your finger on an app and there it is. It's like even if you don't click on the negative videos, the energy's still coming to you. So unless you like abandon the internet altogether, then you're going to still be like, oh, this energy is like heavy out here. You're already getting kind of heavy from clicking on the internet. Then you get off and it's heavy out here. Then it's hard to keep compassion for the world. But you got to pray to seal in that compassion and peaceful energy. like still in the practice of breath work. I think we need breath work up in the churches too. Like maybe we didn't praise the whole lot and too much, and we haven't done a lot of. I think we need more of that in the church. Like everybody take a breather, everybody breathe in the church. I think that like that'll be an easier way to like letting go of the demon instead of trying to force it out. Get down is absolutely exactly. It's wild, but it's I'm trying to understand why breath work is demonic to the Christian women. Like, but you're doing breath work in your home. I'm sure when you get in an argument with somebody, you sit there and go, calm down. I know you're doing that. So why don't you just do it up in the church? Why don't do that up in the church? You know, like prayers is also sacred. People like speaking their prayers all up in the church around people who don't like them. People who's bearing false witness of them is hearing their prayers. It's like, what? It's like if I have a custom prayer and I'm sitting there and I raise my hand and I'll be like, praise God, blah, 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 blah. It's like, I don't want to be doing that right next to the person who I know won't stop sleeping with my man and bearing false witness. Y'all, that's, I'm just saying. But world for world, I think the only proof that we all really got God is like, how can I count on you? Okay, then you're suspect. I don't care what all these prayers we doing up in the church. Can I actually count on you? Can I count on you to be faithful and respect me? Can I count on you not to tell lies and bear false witness on me? Can I count on you to not be sinning against me? If I can't count on you for that, then all this praying up in the church you doing is hogwash. For real. I'm a type of person, if you're in a situation, you ain't got to ask me twice. Okay? I'm not going to talk behind your back and say, oh, you had to ask me for food or whatever. Look, you ain't even got to be in my family. I don't want to see no one struggle out here. See, when you've had a real good taste of struggle, like it's like you know what it's like to be like in the middle of the road and you really don't have any solutions yet, and you're just sitting there waiting on it, then you have more compassion for people. Then you're like, okay, if anything, I'm avoid any wicked energy, because I don't ever want to be in the middle of the road again, not knowing where the solution gonna come from. But most people, do you know some people never been there? I know that's hard to believe that some people live 50, 60 years and never knew what it's like to be in the middle of the road. It's because they always had people running in. They never had to save themselves. They always had a boo or family with money or some side dude they were sleeping with for 20 years to come through. So they don't know what it's like to like actually have to fight for yourself and come up with a solution that's from within you, or look for a resource that's unfamiliar that will help you. They don't know what that's like. So they have this privileged attitude where they think that they're more favored than you because they never had to experience what you've experienced. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, courage and strength and being favored, it's actually something that you still earn. Some of these people never earned it. Never earned it. Just existed in their families. And they try to say that is what God considered favored. No. That is what the demonic dimension do. The demonic dimension say all you got to do is exist, and that's it. You don't have to be of service. You can just be around. Yep. Y'all. I mean, I bet you any money if there was like some way to make everybody's home invisible. I bet you'll see so many people's homes with stuff that they could easily have given to somebody. Like, you'll be able to see that they just overdoing it with the stuff, knowing that people are struggling. Like, if people's whole life was just invisible to everybody, and you could just go to the computer and just see, like, oh, this is how much money they make, and this is what they got, and you'll be seeing, like, wow, all these people hoard money. There's more people hoarding money and hoarding things than I thought. They sitting up there with an 8-bedroom home and 2 fancy expensive cars, and they keep $600,000 a year in their bank account for no damn good reason. And they won't even drop anything off at the donation bin. I told them that I missed my Uber and they wouldn't even give me an Uber. Okay, I see what they are about. Like, what if we was all able to see that, but we couldn't, like, access it? But we was able to see that. We would know just how fake a lot of people are just living around us and in our life. How greedy a lot of people are. We know then that half the people who say, who lie and say they struggling, they ain't struggling. They ain't struggling. Or that they humble living. They ain't humble living. Oh, I'm humble living. First of all, Christianity is humble living. Like, I don't remember anything in the Christian history of any of the saints with them worried about sitting on money, or I'm only going to take care of my own. Like, I don't think Jesus was in that energy where he's like, I'm only going to take care of my own. So this is what makes me not want to be Christian again. Because all this, I take care of my own. Like, no one on the outside matters. I don't like that energy. Yeah, I don't like that energy. I don't like that so many people going to Christian church all the time are people that got everything handed to them, or they inherited a lot of money because their husband died, and they still ain't being of service, though they can. They're 60 years old, walking around just fine. They can volunteer at the local food bank, but they don't. They just sit on their big fat money that they get from their husband, and then they just go to church on weekends. And it's like, you say you're Christian, but last thing I've heard that Jesus wasn't planning to retire. Like, y'all, I could say some stuff to hit home. All this retire, no, you retire when you die. Like, that's the retirement. Like, all this, I quit serving. I'm just gonna live up in my cabin in my woods with my horses and my dog and my little fire pit. And my little hunting strategy and live at peace. What is that like? But you're saying that, like, I'm God-fearing and whatever. You do know there's still people out here hungry and starving, that's traumatized and abused and stuck in prison for no damn reason. You do realize that while you're sitting in your comfortable little nest egg. When I'm crippled up in a wheelchair, they're gonna be like, this woman refused to stop serving. She up in the caregiver home talking about, let's start a donation charity and stuff. People gonna be, that's what I want to be known for. I want to be known that I was a 95-year-old woman in a nursing home still doing God's work. Not sitting up there saying, well, I got all these servants around me. I'm good. I don't want to be in that energy. But you know what? I try not to go so hard with this, because not everybody can sense that they're chosen to be a spiritual healer till they die. Not everybody's chosen for that either. You can choose to do it, but it's not everybody's divine purpose. Automatically they were born to do that. So I try not to go so hard, but I guess some people are going to take 50, 60 years to learn that materialism in the end is just not going to give you emotional fulfillment. It's not. Hoarding money, hoarding resources, cheating to hoard money, because witches and warlocks, that's what they want to do. They want to cheat to hoard money, hoard as much as they can so they can waste as much as they can. And that's why they do what they do. They want to waste money and resources in peace without worry. So they cheat and rob, spiritually. But they too will learn when they're old, and the creator then got sick of it, and people then start to sense their true nature, and it ain't working no more. And the material stuff is all dried up and, not that abundant, and it ain't coming through. Then they want to go, oh, I'm going to find God. But it's like, your time's almost up. It's a little bit too late. I want to see how you make it up to God in these last 5 years you have to live. Let's see how good you are at making it up. Y'all, I'll be saying the truth. I'm going to leave this video up. Yeah. I try, y'all. I could preach and preach on and on with people, but some people think I'm crazy. Saying, how could you be like this in this economy? I mean, why ain't you in the me, myself, and I self-absorbed energy? And why? Like, why ain't you just all about the money and grinding and working yourself to death? And that's all you care about. Like, why ain't you in that energy? How could you be like spiritual all the time? It's like, I was lucky to be shown the falseness of greed, how toxic it is. I was lucky to have been shown that young. Not everybody gets shown that young. I remember spending a summer at my aunt. I'm not going to say her name. I don't want to get into bearing false witness because I can't stand it. But I'm speaking the truth. My aunt, I moved in with her for the summer, me and my sister. I'll never forget. She was rich, and it was like a very toxic experience. We were like very humble, stoic type of kids, born almost Amish-like. We were raised Amish-like almost, like compared to everybody else. And she was like talking down on it. My aunt was like grossed out by our humble clothes and our inexpensive life. She found it offensive. And we would, we were kids, so we couldn't speak up to it. We didn't know how to speak up to her. So we would just sit there quiet when she would shade. And she thought because she had a lot of money that she could slave us out for free. Like, we should just be thankful. So she had us like finger peeling this plaster off her walls. Okay, she called herself not paying for, being cheap, even though she was rich. She didn't want to pay for anyone to remove the plaster off her mansion walls. She had us doing it. Y'all, I was not about it. I told my mom, and my mom said, no, they're not doing that. So she said, oh, you're not doing that. So we went to go out to eat, and she said, where y'all want to go? And we said, Happy Meals. Back in the day, it was okay to have a Happy Meal. She was like, what? Y'all not eating at McDonald's? That's gross. She was just kind of like putting us down. Like, it was like real toxic. She had us doing all this rich people stuff that was like real boring. And I'm just saying, I'm just saying that's how it was. And we never, in spite of her enormous home and beautiful land, we didn't want to go back. That just goes to show, I've been in plenty of rich people's homes, and their energy was toxic and they was not nice. And my humble ways offended them. It made them feel as greedy as they were. I remember I stayed in this mansion with a writer's stipend, and it's because I was chosen. It was a scholarship, and the wife of the mansion she was like making everybody this. She had her cook, her chef, make everybody this fancy breakfast. And I said, no, I'll be okay. I'm just gonna have me a blueberry muffin that he has sitting out. And she was like, yeah, okay. You're really gonna have a blueberry muffin? I said, yeah. You know, poor man's meal. That's what was home to me. You know, that was home to me. Simplicity. She was like, no, you're gonna come to the table, and we have a chef preparing something. The muffins is what you eat, just if the chef's not there at the moment. I said, no, I mean, I grew up on having a muffin to go or whatever. But she insisted on me eating a chef's meal. And they had flowers on the plate. And she was like, I removed the flowers. And she was like, eat that. There was plants that I know that I've never eaten before, like flowers and stuff. She was like, no, you eat them. I was like, nah, I don't want to eat them. I was like, I don't even know if I'll have a reaction to that stuff. She was like, you're not. And she trying to look at me like, oh, I must have lived so poor that I don't know that I can sit here and eat a bunch of dandelions and daisies and stuff. But it's like, I wasn't raised on that. Like, it's not my culture. So I ended up just like pushing the food away and going upstairs. And I was like, I'm going to get up out of here because it's just too much, you know. And then I saw her like side eye my luggage. My luggage was like real plain and humble. And she gave this like kind of side eye look. And then when I went to my room, I could tell like she went through my luggage. It was like, no, I'm getting out of here. So when you know how obsessive and addictive it can get to things, like the more you buy things, the more you buy things, the more you're into greed and materialism, the more you get into it. It's such a downward spiral, easy to get into. And I got stuck in there. And I got stuck in that with a bunch of people stuck in it. And I was just always unhappy and miserable. And I knew there was something bigger that I was supposed to be doing than just working to spend money. Like, so back in 2011, I just did a leap of faith. I said, I'm done. Like, I'm not with these shopaholics, materialistic stuff. I'm done. So I just stopped. I started like doing, you know, bringing dishes to people's houses, then buying fancy stuff, getting people what they need rather than wants. Now every holiday, when I do holidays, you're under that tree. If you do tree, whether it's a Hanukkah tree or a Ramadan tree or Christmas tree, I give things that you need. If I'm in the mood, I might get one thing that you want, and it will not be expensive. So that's how I do it. I don't buy things. I don't even want to buy things for people no more. Like, I give a gift card to the grocery store or to a clothing store for your essential needs. Because I know just how hard it is. I know how easy it is to get sucked into product life. Hi, everybody. Yeah, y'all. You know, the last few days I've been also living very stoic. I just been like combing my hair out and going. No styling my hair, no makeup, no fancy clothes. And I'm telling y'all, like when you surrender the dependency on any matrix type of energy, you'll notice that your enlightenment, you know, is increased. It's like you're rewarded. Like, I think self-care is supposed to be to just take care of your health. It's not supposed to be because you want to please people out here. You know, you need people to like you. That's how you become a shopping witch. You know, there's witchcraft for everything, like shopping witchcraft. How many of y'all have went into people's homes and where there was like expensive things but not artistry? But you're like, where's all the art? Like, I'm just saying, like, expensive dishes, expensive furniture, but I don't see creative energy in here. And you can feel like the energy is still like low key dark. Even if everything's expensive, you can still sense it. It's like no. Like I live in a old generational home that belongs to my daughter. It was actually given to her. She's supposed to get it. But she doesn't want it right now because she's, building her nest egg and all that. She has plans for this property. But um when people come here, they always say it's comfortable. They come here and they don't want to leave. Even if they gotta leave, they always stay longer. Because it's like you look around my home and you're gonna get inspired. There's all type of artistry, artistic stuff everywhere. You don't have to worry about the walls feeling like the walls is closing in on you. And I feel like that's what we need to get back to. Just finding a way to be creative. I wonder why the churches don't have creative classes like they used to. Like they consider like only creativity be Sunday school. But there needs to be creative classes at the churches like 3-4 days a week. I think they need to have creative classes on Sunday mass too. Like watercolor art for middle-aged women. We got that going on after the minister talk. They're not going to go in there because I guess shouting and praising is enough. I just like shouting and praising is just enough. Like, what about like emotional grounding? What about that? Like leaving the church and you thinking you favored, but you still got that deep emotional scars that you need to deal with. So why don't you go on into the back church room and go to the watercolor class? Like there's no community activities. Where are the community activities? Like what? And then if you do find one and you be like, yeah, y'all, let's go. Don't nobody want to go. Like the festivals are there. You can get in free. You know, they're made to be cheap so kids can go. But it's like no. I wonder sometime if it's like people don't care about good spiritual fun. It's just I just want to release. But it's like, what about the fun? The good spiritual fun is a release. You can do that without talking. You can go to a festival and play a couple games and don't have to talk. No false witness. Play some games so you don't bear false witness. When people have too much time on their hands, they slip right into bearing false witness, talking about people. Somebody said, I give nothing. The way people are so stingy and hoarding now, it's like really scary. People want to sit there and be like, oh, the 90s and the 80s was the most abundant time. But it's like, you can still do the 90s if you want to. It's like, why don't you do it? Because you're joining the group of hoarders and complainers and takers and braggers and greedier people. You're joining that group and false witnessers. I remember back in the day, if somebody got caught bearing false witness, they got beat up. Like it nowadays, it's like it's just normalized. Nobody even cares. Like that's just like that. That's the fun thing now. That's the new game. Let's all get together and just bear false witness. That's what made me stop hanging out in the comments on all these apps. Like I try not to be in those comments. I be in those comments at a bare minimum. Because especially the ones where people talk about their personal life, it'd be like bear false witness, false witness, false witness, talk bad, 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 bad. No one is even asking for a solution. Yeah. You don't have to give nothing to holidays. So we got that trend going on. I don't do holidays. That's the newest trend. That's exactly why. That's exactly why people are struggling. I know someone's going to argue with me. Some Christian's going to argue with me. Holidays still help people get what they need. You can give people what they need on holidays. You can. You can go down and feed the poor. How about that? How about go volunteer on Thanksgiving to feed these homeless people? You don't want to give gifts on holidays. Still people hungry. There's people hungry every day, even on holidays. You give nothing at all? Literally nothing at all. While everybody else is sitting around, chestnuts roasting by the fire, there's homeless people who got no family to see. They got nothing, not even a dinner. Why don't you go donate a dinner to them? How pagan is that? You're donating a dinner. You're not doing a tree. You're not doing Christmas home, little miniature homes. They were full of witchcraft. Really. So everywhere you receive gifts, generalizing, every single person that ever gave you a gift, it had witchcraft. As if your gift don't have witchcraft. Witchcraft is in everything. It may not always be bad. Sometimes it's good. But if you're just always negative, everybody is always against me with all these gifts. That's what I'm talking about. That's the new trend now. That's the new trend now. I don't do your what you did was literally move the goalpost. No, take responsibility that you don't want to be a giver. Stop blaming it on other people. Okay, you can still give. You don't gotta get. You can still give. Like, what is the problem? Just give. Y'all, I'm gonna head on out because people always find excuses for not to give around the holidays. That's the new thing. This world is demonic. This is political. It's negative. They negative. They negative. That's why I don't give. Look, I say give and let the Creator sort it out. Okay? Go. You can always feed the homeless. You don't want to give an actual gift. Why don't you put some money to donate food? Okay. All right. Have a blessed day, y'all. I'm not in the mood to be arguing on no Saturday. Take care, y'all. If y'all enjoyed the video, feel free to let me know. If you'd like to send a donation, you can send donations to my Cash App at Coach V Hunter or at my PayPal. Please check the community news for my upcoming announcements that I had to put off because I wasn't well. But I'm ready to make the announcements very soon. Bye, everybody. Take care.